What generation are you? Gen Alpha, Gen Z, Millennial, Gen X, Baby Boomer, or Silent? Depending on which generation you grew up in, you probably have a different way of viewing money and home ownership. Over the next few weeks, I will address different generations. We will discuss your home ownership options and some of the struggles that you may be having, whether you already have a home or if you're thinking about buying your first home or an investment property. Before we start those videos, I wanted to discuss each of the different generations. So let's break it down. My grandparents are from the silent generation, born between 1928 and 1945. They lived through World War II, the Great Depression, televisions, and mass production of automobiles. They only know face-to-face communication and handwritten letters. They paid cash for things and dreamed of one day going to college or owning a home. Then we have baby boomers, are people more like my mom and dad, born between 1946 and 1964. They lived through the swinging 60s, Apollo moon landing, and the civil rights movement. They communicated through a landline telephone and embraced purchasing things with a buy now, pay later strategy. They see going to college and buying a home as something that they would do to make their families proud. Generation X is someone like me, born between 1965 and 1979. We saw the integration of mobile phones into everyday life and personal computers that became video games. We began email communication, and although some learned to save better, the buy now, pay later strategy still continued. My generation saw going to college as a way to get the best job and to buy a beautiful home. We have millennials like someone like my daughters, born between 1980 and 1995. They lived through 9/11, the birth of social media, and an economic boom. They communicate through text message and find money as something they earn to spend. They see college as more of an expense and not needed for jobs as much. They are looking for the bigger, better thing to help them to strike it rich and buy a big home. Then we have Gen Z, someone like my son, born between 1996 and 2015. They lived through a recession and a world aware of energy and economic and environmental crisis. At the same time, they also had vast technology changes, including touchscreen devices. They communicate with video and images. This generation is focused on entrepreneurship instead of attending a traditional college. They see social media and themselves as a business, and they are finding ways to create wealth at an early age. Gen Z is buying homes earlier than any previous generations. Finally, we have Gen Alpha, which is someone like my granddaughters, born between 2016 and now. This generation knows only modern technologies and apps that allow them to communicate through direct messages. Time will tell how this generation will relate to money, college, work, and home ownership. It is fascinating how growing up in different life events has shaped the mindset of the entire generation. Now, I know that not all the references may be accurate for your personal situation, but I'm sure you could see how one thing does affect another and how the generation was shaped the way that it is. If you have questions about your specific situation, please reach out to my team and I. I'm Kari Cross with the Cross Group at Antero Real Estate, and I look forward to talking to you soon. Bye.